I can see we have some early birds joining us already. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to the webinar. We'll be starting in about 3 minutes time. Ben, are you good to go?
Absolutely.
Brilliant, thank you.
Absolutely
Okay.
am.
We're on the hour, so welcome to everyone joining us. Let's get started. So welcome to this webinar by the Advanced Services Group at Aston Business School in partnership with Schneider Electric. And of course, a big welcome to our guest speaker today, Ben Wilson. The Advanced Services Group is a centre of excellence in research and industrial practice at Aston Business School, which is in Birmingham in the UK. Through our industrial networks, our research and our teaching, we support businesses to adopt services-led strategies. My name's Eleanor, I'll be your host today. Please just note this webinar is being recorded. We will make it available on demand afterwards if you'd like to watch back again. Your questions are very welcome, and you should find the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. If you type those in throughout the webinar, and we will come to those questions at the end today. If we don't get a chance to get to your question, Ben will be taking a look at all the questions submitted, and we'll be sending out some more answers via email. So do feel free to send in any questions that you have. Finally, before I hand over to Ben, just to let you know about an upcoming event that we have, Servitization Live. So we're really excited about this event in October. This is a 3-day hybrid event, so it will be taking place in person at the International Convention Centre in Birmingham, as well as being available online. There'll be over 30 speakers from industrial leaders as well as thought leadership, and including Ben actually, who will join us to give more detail about how Schneider Electric is supporting customers in the healthcare industry. You should find the link to register in the chat. There we go, it's just popped up now. So yeah, do join us for that event. No charge to register, and we'd love to see you there. Finally, Just to let you know, if you find today's webinar useful, you want a recap or any more detail on anything, we've got a free to download 8-page case study published on our website. And again, we'll be putting the link to that in the chat, and that will take you to go and download the case study. So now, Ben, I'll hand over to you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about EcoStruxure outcomes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Eleanor. I really appreciate you and your team having me on this webinar, and I'm very, very pleased to explain the journey and talk you all through the process to get us to where we are today. So my name is Ben Wilson. I'm the marketing and offer manager for Secure Power Services here at Schneider Electric Australia. I've been working at Schneider Electric for about three and a bit years now. I've got a background in the electrical trade, in sales, and now I've moved on to onto marketing. And my details are just below. If you'd like to reach out, if you have any questions, if you'd like to learn more, please, I'm more than happy to have a chat after this event. Okay, so on to the story. All right, so the offer that we've created is called EcoStruxure Outcomes Secure Power as a Service. And the operative term, the key word for our offer is outcomes. And really, to explain what outcomes really means, we have to look at two different types of orientations. So our customers, in order to solve any type of business problem that they have, they originally, prior to the release of this offer for this type of technology set, this technology stack, they were asset oriented by default. So our customers, under the asset orientation, before this as a service offer was released, they had to buy or lease assets. They had to find their ways to get their hand on the box that they hope would solve their business problem. After they get their hands on their box, they have to figure out, okay, how do I install it? How do I get the best value from this asset within my business operations? After it's been installed and it's hopefully running quite well, they have to hire people to maintain that asset over time. They have to either find somebody in-house who's an expert in that technology set. That can be their job to maintain that asset, or they can come to Schneider Electric, hopefully only Schneider Electric, to do maintenance services to look after that box, that asset that solves the customer's problem. Typically, it's up to the asset owner to monitor that asset through its whole life cycle. So it's, traditionally, for the product set that I'll walk you through in a bit, it was somebody's responsibility to walk past the room, walk past the server room, and understand, okay, is the LED red or is it green? Is it beeping? What do I need to do to ensure that this asset can actually operate reliably over a long period of time? What do I need to do to make sure that this asset can be fixed if something goes wrong? What happens if it's throwing a code? It's somebody's responsibility, typically at the customer level, the asset owner, to figure out all of those points. What do I do? How do I monitor? And when the asset gets to a certain age, it needs to be replaced. So at the end of the cycle, typically for some of these assets, 10, 12 years, this process starts all over again. They figure out they have a business problem that needs to be solved with your asset, and you start from the top. You have to go and buy and lease that, buy or lease that asset, sorry. And so going back to that outcomes orientation, that key term, we find that our customers, and not only our customers, but I suppose society as a whole, we're all looking to be more outcomes oriented. I personally, I don't buy DVDs anymore. In order to access the outcome of media, I pay a subscription to Spotify or Netflix. Um, a lot of the world we find is moving in this direction, and the key example here is airlines. So the airlines' core business, their core deliverable is really moving these giant aluminium tubes through the sky as safely, as reliably, as professionally as possible. Right, that's their core business, and the outcome that they want to receive and they want to consume from their component provider. In this example, it's Rolls-Royce. Is jet engines, and Rolls-Royce provides that to airlines on a power by the hour basis. And again, this allows the airline to focus on their core business, to focus on their customers, focus on their marketing, focus on their brand. The technical aspects, the ownership of those jet engines, all of the supply chain considerations, all of the very, very technical and potentially hazardous parts of their plane that they don't want to think about, they look to Rolls-Royce to manage on their behalf. So with Rolls-Royce, it's really their responsibility to look after all of those jet engines for airlines. I think something like 90% of airlines now don't even own the jet engines on their planes, and it's up to Rolls-Royce to provide that safe hours of propulsion to the airlines. At the end of the life of a jet engine, Rolls-Royce will go back to the airline and tell them, okay, you need to pull this plane in at any of our regional centers, and we need to do some maintenance, or we need to replace it. It's not up to the airline to determine those dates or the work that needs to be done. Rolls-Royce takes care of that whole solution on their behalf, and that allows the airlines to be outcomes oriented. Oops. Okay, so EcoStruxure outcomes, secure power as a service. So I'll just quickly walk you through the 5 pillars of value before we look at the technology set that it applies to. But as you see here, it should be quite clear. There are 5 key pillars as to why our customers consider moving away from hardware ownership. So the first pillar of value is no upfront capital investment. So with our offer, there's no requirement to own there's no requirement to pay any capex at all, and our customers, they deem these payments as OPEX. So it's a full OPEX model. There's no need to manage the assets or to depreciate it on the customer's books. That second block there, alignment of cost to usage or pay-per-use economics, as commonly seen in IT. Our customers pay literally for what they've consumed, and so for our model, it's a per kilowatt hour, or pretty simple agreed fee per deployed billing system. It's visible, and it's a very simple billing table that allows our customers to understand the monthly costs today and also costs over time to operate that solution. The third pillar is full life cycle management. So for UPS, batteries, cooling systems associated for this offer, Schneider Electric own the solution, and we take care of all parts of the solution on the customer's behalf. So from installation, maintenance, monitoring, repairs, all the way to end of life, where we will take that asset back and we'll ensure that it's sustainably and responsibly disposed of or refurbished at the end of the contract. The current statistic from last year was that 99% of the returned obsolete product that we received was diverted from landfill. So an offer like this allows our customers to participate directly into the circular economy without really needing to do anything, because we own the solution, we own the assets, and it's up to us to provide that experience to the customer. Fourth pillar, agile provisioning. So all of the assets are digitally connected, and we understand what's going on at the asset level and what's happening within the environment. And all of our solutions are highly modular. So this makes it very easy for us to be able to flex up or flex down the capacity of the actual solution to our customers' requirements, to their business demands, without the traditional procurement cycles that we see today, which can, typically be quite lengthy. And the fifth pillar, maximize efficiency. So because we right size the solution for the customer for what their needs are from day one. The customers aren't installing a unit that's operating at 30% capacity. So it's a lot more efficient on energy, a lot more efficient on capital, and it's just a lot more. It's a far more efficient option for our customers. Linking all of these pillars, these reasons together, we have class-leading digital tools and experts within the local, regional, and the global level to support a giant shift away from hardware ownership. Forward. Okay, so these go. So these are the product and solution mixes that we support with our offer. Secure Power as a Service allows our customers to, again, move away from hardware ownership, to access only the requirements that they need. And so we support single-phase UPS fleets, three-phase UPSs, cooling solutions, and micro data centers. And how this works is the customer will come to us, or we'll figure out what the customer needs in terms of capacities today and over time, and we'll build a bespoke solution that covers their requirements. That's fully managed by Schneider Electric. It's digitally enabled, and it allows our customers to flex up or down their actual capacity requirements over time without any hidden fees. There's a transparent pricing table, and this offer also allows our customers with a diverse range of locations and asset ages to maximize their existing investment. There's no requirement to transition everything over to Outcomes on day one. We can help them. We can assist our customers to transition their fleet away from owned assets to Schneider owned. Apologies. Okay, so again, when our customers buy these assets, when they buy a UPS, when they buy a critical cooling system, they're trying to access the secure power experience. And so for many of our customers, that's peace of mind for their business, and that's protection for data, compute, the electrical assets within retail environments, within hospitals, within data centers. And again, their traditional method of procuring that experience was to buy, own, and operate. It's typically, and actually traditionally, significantly over provision that again we see on site. Many of our customers with assets that are larger than what they actually require today. It's a lot of money up front they have to spend before they're actually using the asset. And again, if you're the asset owner, you're fully responsible for that asset. And it's a commitment. It's a long-term commitment. Once you've actually purchased that asset, you have to find somebody to maintain that asset, and you're responsible for that asset over time. And so with our new offer, EcoStruxure Outcomes, Secure Power as a Service, we can transition our customers away from that buy, own, and operate mode. They can still access the secure power experience they need to run their business and to be outcomes oriented. And with our model, we allow our customers to access that experience without any upfront capital investment. It's a true consumption model. So our customers pay literally for what they use, in a similar manner to what we all experience with utilities and data, or you might experience with software and software as a service. And it's all fully managed by Schneider Electric. So I've had a customer say to us before, we want your service to be like the tap on the wall. We want to turn the tap and access the water, but everything from the tap and the wall behind, so everything behind the wall with that tap is something that we don't want to think about. And EcoStruxure Outcomes allows our customers to experience that way of working and operating their business in order to become more outcomes oriented. Thank you. That was the offer in
Thank you, Ben.
15 short minutes.
Yeah, perfectly timed. So Ben, thanks for that. We'll now take a look in more detail at some aspects of the business model and also how you went about developing it, this journey that you've been on over the past 18 months or so. So what you can see on screen here is our business model blueprint template. You and I have had a look at this and completed this together. So for the benefit of our audience, this is a tool that we've designed to help you design and capture every aspect of a fully rounded services-led business model. We're making this available later this year via a mini guide and also an app that you'll be able to use to complete this template. So Ben, we're going to start with the competitive landscape, so the bottom corner of the blueprint. So tell me, Ben, about why Schneider made a move into services in the first place. What were the threats and opportunities that were driving this?
Okay, so the big why. So as I previously mentioned, there's the world is seeing these secular shifts, these trends to move away from hardware ownership and to really think about how you can make it easier to access the services that you require, and also to manage the consumption of that access instead of having to, again, own those assets. And let me think. Yeah, it's almost like it's something that needs to be done, right? A business needs to continue to create value for its customers, and I suppose to go back to your question, what threats and opportunities drove this? I suppose the biggest threat is if somebody else does it first. If somebody else can provide that superior value to our customers before we do, I'd say that's a major issue for Schneider Electric. We're leaders in this field, and developing new offers to create value for our customers is part of our DNA. And what opportunities drove this? So I would say that in terms of the competitive landscape, again, ensuring that we're ahead of the pack and that we're doing things that our competitors aren't, in terms of all of the different hardware, software, and service solutions that we've developed, thus far.
Okay, thank you. And so take us back to 2019 when this all began. So how did this initiative get started in the first place?
Absolutely. Okay, so this initiative started with I suppose the employment of my boss, a man called Howard Boland. He's the VP for Field Services within the Pacific Zone for Schneider Electric, and his background is from HPE, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and he came from one of the teams that were able to really revolutionize the way that people access their compute and storage by the cloud, by being able to provide the things that people, by being able to provide the cloud experience instead of having to buy and operate the servers. And he knew he could see that this type of product mix, this solution mix, was ripe to be servitized. He could see that this technology set, typically associated with right next to the servers in the IT world, could be servitized, could be owned by Schneider, and we could provide that experience to our customers and allow them to access and consume UPS and critical cooling in a very similar manner that they currently experience with the IT or software. And so he brought on board a number of consultants from the Mosrake Group, who were also from HPE, and they understood the process to be able to servitize a transactional hardware model to an as a service model. And from there, I suppose he assembled a team of volunteers, or what some people call adventurers. He brought them together, and he really tasked them to be able to figure out what it would take to take us from a transactional hardware and transactional service business to one that is more customer more customer facing, one that utilizes data better, and to create that experience to allow our customers to access and pay for what they consume instead of having to own or pay for SKUs. Um, eh, how far would you like to drill in, Eleanor?
Yeah, so you've been a key member of that team, haven't you? And that's something I know we're going to come on to talk about in a bit, the other members of that team and who you've had to bring on since. So I think that's it. That's a great summary of how things began. So thank you. So we'll move on to the value creation process. So here we're looking at kind of what it is that you're actually offering, but also how you go about understanding what the market need is for what you would like to offer. So how did you go about finding out what it was that customers needed? You've spoken about the trends and the in other industries and the adoption of services, but when it came to your own customers and their appetite for adopting these kinds of outcome-based services, how was it you went about understanding that need?
Okay. So the consultants were brought on board, and one of the first things that they did was to go out and interview a number of customers about their experience, and not just understand the pain points, but to actually figure out the end-to-end process. So figuring out that they needed UPS to solve a problem, what was the decision process, why did they choose a certain solution, who they brought on board, figuring out really like what are the individual steps and processes and people that they needed to bring on board to make that decision, to understand what does the business need and what is the technical solution that satisfies that need.
Okay, and tell me more about what the consultants and therefore you learned about the customers.
Okay. So we learned that the UPS and critical cooling, like a lot of these assets are things that just sit in the corner and people don't think about them. Our customers, they're not experts in this technology. They don't want to think about these assets, which, they serve their purpose, but really it's almost like a bit of a necessary evil for the business. And the vast majority of the time, these assets don't cause problems, but when they do, there could be major downtime events for our customers, and often downtime equals money lost. And so our customers didn't want to have to really think about these assets. They didn't want to have to manage them. They didn't want to have to own them. So we had a few customers who said, it'd be great if we didn't have to own these things at all. It'd be great if you could just look after these on our behalf and provide the solution. I suppose, digging a bit further in, there were some complaints that, it takes a long time within my organization to raise a CapEx request. It takes months and months for somebody in finance to approve my request, and in that time, there could be 3 or 6 months where I've got something that's running for now, but it's a subpar solution for what I actually need. And again, there were a lot of different types of pain points that were pulled out from all of these customer interviews, which were able to be built in and allowed the team to steer activities in a direction to solve those problems within the offer.
Great. So those are some of the pains that the customers were experiencing. And then also when we look at value creation, we're thinking about the additional gains that you're offering as well. So you've talked here in this slide about things like peace of mind. So talk us through some of those additional gains and opportunities that this service enables for customers.
Absolutely. Let's have a look. So unlocking resources to focus on core business activities. Yeah, absolutely. So we within our customer base, our customers want to be focused on core business deliverables, on their core business, on their customer. And this offer really allows our customers to I suppose, reallocate some of those resources away from looking after things that they're not experts in. They're experts in producing biscuits, or looking after people, or managing customers, or creating a brand. That's what they want to be experts in, not a UPS, not things that most businesses don't have electrical engineers on hand to ascertain issues or to solve problems. They have marketers, they have people who solve business problems that create a profit for that company. And so again, yeah, unlocking resources is a key gain. Working capital is huge. So businesses that want to grow faster than their competition, they're often constrained by lack of working capital. And so our offer allows our customers to reutilize their working capital in other parts of the business that have a higher rate of return. And this offer for some of our customers is a key driver to allow them to expand even faster than before. By not having to own these assets on their books, they can reutilize that capital, reutilize the human resources into things that allow the company to move faster. And I suppose that last point, circular economy, it's interesting. It's a bit of a buzzword as the world crawls out of this COVID-induced recession. People want to be circular. They want to participate in the circular economy, but they don't know how, because they're not experts in operating in a circular fashion. They want to know that that their assets are, the way that they procure their hardware is done in a green manner, and when done with EcoStruxure outcomes, because Schneider own the actual hardware, it's up to us to ensure that we divert as much of that from landfill as possible, which we currently do today.
Fantastic, thank you. I think some real value, real gains offered there. So that's how it works for customers. When it comes to how it works for Schneider, so you've talked about the billing model, so the per kilowatt hour business model, billing model. So we've looked, I think, at your revenue model, but what other value is Schneider capturing from offering this service other than that recurring revenue?
Oh, okay. So everything else apart from the dollars and cents.
Exactly.
Okay, so I've actually neglected to mention this is a world first, and this is also a Schneider first. Nobody else in the world has a servitized offer for UPS, critical cooling, or micro data centers. And so being first in the market, that builds, that allows us to be recognized, I hope, as real innovators, as leaders in our field. And so I think that recognition in the market is something that we really strive for every time that we innovate, every time that we do something new. I think, and I hope, that the market recognizes that Schneider Electric is one of those innovative companies that's doing new things. What other value? I suppose brand equity. Again, by being first to market, people know who we are. We want to make sure that customers are happy, right? Happy customers are sticky customers. So in terms of that revenue perspective, customers that are happy stick around for longer. We don't need to do as much marketing. So we don't need to win as many new customers if our customers stick with us for the long term. I suppose thinking about the share price, it's interesting looking at businesses that transition away from like transactional revenue. It seems like the market is rewarding businesses that move to like recurring revenue models by valuing that revenue, from what I've read, 2 to 8 times more for recurring revenue than transactional revenue, which is huge. The more that the business moves towards this outcomes-based recurring revenue model, the higher the share price should go.
Fantastic. So lots of compelling reasons there, and lots of extra value that you're getting from this.
Absolutely.
So finally, we'll have a look at what you've had to put in place, what you already had in place, or what you've had to put in place to enable you to deliver these services. And then we're going to come on to some of the audience questions, because I can see we've got plenty coming through. So we spoke briefly at the beginning about the team that Howard put together, volunteers, or I think you called them adventurers from different parts of the organization, of which you were, I know, an original and key member. So tell me a bit more about those people, that team that was brought together, what different areas they came from and what expertise they had to bring.
Absolutely. So thinking about the team today, the team that was brought together was pretty much one person from every relevant department. So one person from sales, one person from marketing, one person from product, I think person from supply chain and operations and the digital monitoring. And I think, initially at the start of the project, it was about an hour a day we would devote into this project and understanding what it really means to work to create a servitized offer, what as a service means, and what as a service is, and what as a service isn't. It's definitely not a leasing model. And for a lot of people, when you say as a service and you describe the top line, the mind goes to leasing, and it's definitely not a leasing model. And pretty much again, started from an hour a day, and we just chipped into different tasks that needed to be done and pulling information from different parts of the business and creating those linkages and doing all of those tasks that were required in order to help build out an offer. And it, for some people, it got to the point where they transitioned into new roles. For lots of other people, like myself, I suppose these new responsibilities have sort of melded into my day job. So instead of going from two distinctly different jobs, it's sort of for me melded again into one. I've got many different responsibilities in different parts of the business. But yeah, I think it is important to get the team of adventurers together to have the time, have the passion to be able to work on this, and to have the energy to work on something as important as this for our organization, at least.
And as time went on, I think you then developed some new roles and recruited people to those new roles. What kinds of jobs had to be created to support this as you started to grow?
Absolutely. So one of the first key roles that were created was the consumption sales manager. So I'll just go over the top: consumption sales manager, a digital transformation manager, and a customer success manager. So the consumption sales manager, their job, their role is to go and assist the sales team who are, they have their minds locked to transactional, and sort of helping the rest of the team and our customers to unlock, to move away, to stop thinking about everything in such a transactional manner, moving away from SKUs and price lists to bespoke solutions and consumption billing. And that person became the specialist that everyone would go to, all of the customers and all of our sales team, and that would be the bridge, the glue, the conductive glue that holds and brings the team together and helps these deals get sold at least the first couple of times. I mentioned the digital transformation manager. So our business is already quite, I suppose, digitally enabled. We're all digital, I suppose, mostly digital natives. So we use the technology today. Like, I'm on a laptop, I use software, I work digitally. There are many, legacy business processes which are probably not digital, or maybe digital in name only. So people passing around PDFs or spreadsheets, that's digital, but not, I wouldn't say not digitally optimized. And so the digital transformation manager is to manage the transformation of the digital processes behind the business, and to get the business thinking in more digital ways and operating in more digital fluid ways instead of on these legacy old processes. I also mentioned a customer success manager, which for something like this is vital because Schneider own the hardware, we own the solution. Somebody has to manage that engagement, and it's a non-sales engagement. Once the solution's been sold into the customer, somebody has to hold the customer's hand, help them with the solution roadmap, and to be that, I suppose, non-sales contact to help solve problems, to make sure that the customer is successful using our offer.
Fantastic. Okay, Ben, I'm going to come to some audience questions now because we've got lots coming through. So let's start with this one. So from Wilhelm, how was this new offer integrated into the existing sales team?
Great question. Integrated into the existing sales team. So we have two sales teams. Two sales teams. I work within field services, and so it's relatively well integrated with us because it's within our business unit, and we work across another business unit, the hardware side. I would say that in terms of integration, it's quite well integrated with our sales team because our team have KPIs and targets, and they're being pushed by our sales managers to introduce our customers to this really innovative offer. The hardware team, not so much. We'll integrate with them later on, but we do look to make sure that we are aligned as one team moving forward. And I'm hoping next year that'll be the year that we all come together and really push outcomes.
What do you think are the biggest challenges for those existing salespeople in selling this as a service offering?
Okay. I mentioned, I think I mentioned mindset. People are locked in. They have this this golden formula to make sales, make bonuses, and make their money. And they get really good at doing a set of repeatable actions, repeatable engagements. And now you're asking them, hey, salesperson, we've got this new thing. And a lot of the time they go, new, that sounds like I'm not getting my bonus. I don't like that. I like the model that made me money. And I think, yeah, it really is about holding the salesperson's hand and sometimes doing the engagements on their behalf a few times so that they're comfortable in the process, what to say, what to do, and also that they'll actually get paid at the end of the day, right? The salespeople they're money motivated most of the time, and so tick the right boxes, make them feel good about the offer, and they'll sell it.
Yeah, it's certainly a big mindset and cultural shift, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So we have a question from Alejandro. Have you been able to acquire new customers using this model that were not previously interested in your traditional offer?
That's interesting. I would say yes, right? So we, every time a customer has a need, they go out to the market, and so it's not just Schneider Electric. They're asking when they're looking for a transactional hardware purchase, when they're looking to buy that UPS. But because we're first to market, we are the only option for as a service. And so I would say yes, this is a great way for Schneider to take customers that we might have lost to the competition.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And has it also enabled new business with existing customers?
Absolutely. 100%. And again, those existing customers that love Schneider, love our products, love our services already, they can get more of it, and they can access it in an easier manner using this offer.
Okay, thank you. So a question from Liz, what has been the biggest concern from existing customers when you go to suggest this new model to them?
That's a great question, Liz. The biggest concern, I would say, what we're dealing with here is critical infrastructure. And there are a lot of people who are very conservative about the methods of accessing this type of critical infrastructure. And so I'd say a key concern is, well, what's going to happen? Should I be worried about the way that that I access this new model this is different. It's I suppose a lot of our customers have many concerns, but uh, I think it's just the newness factor, and often when you show them a case study where we've been able to solve another customer's problems, those concerns start to really fade because they can see that somebody else has done it, and it's quite successful.
So yeah, so that the concerns about being the first adopter of this are somewhat allayed when they can hear that others have done this already, and the
Absolutely.
benefits and the challenges
Absolutely.
it's helped them overcome.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you. We've had a few questions around balance sheets and financing and ownership of assets. So, for example, this question, does the asset remain on your balance sheet with Schneider, or have you found a capital investor that holds the asset for you?
Okay, I can't speak directly to that question, but I'll just take a step back. There are many different ways to run an offer like this. So one option could be that the company advertising their offer could own those pieces of equipment on their own balance sheet. And that's option one. Option two is to go directly to a financier, so somebody who provides the money and allows you, who owns the asset, who then allows you to provide that service to your customers. The third option that we've seen is to have a special purpose holding company, which could be separately funded by the head company, that allows the company selling the service not to experience the potential drop in margin when the contract is first signed. Some companies are very keen to ensure that margin is at a certain level and that there are some reporting requirements. And some managers may want to make sure that, okay, this is a new offer. I can't have this offer make the rest of my business look poorly by dragging down the group margin. So again, I can't speak specifically about what we do, but there are many different ways of being able to finance and to manage the ownership of those assets.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks, Ben. A few people are interested in, so you've spoken about taking asset ownership off the hands of the customer, but is there an option for customers after a certain number of years to purchase the asset and to have that ownership, or is that not part of this particular offering?
Generally, no. A big part of this offer is that we manage all parts of the solution. And typically, as these solutions get older, they get less reliable, and it's just not something that's part of our offer. If the customer doesn't want to participate anymore, we're more than happy to take those assets from the customer and refurbish them or recycle them. But yeah, typically no. When we servitize these assets, they stay with us.
But presumably there are other ways for customers to buy and own products from you if they still wish to.
Absolutely, 100%.
So another question from Alejandro asking a bit more about the detail about how the revenue model, the variable by which you're paid. So he's asking, is that to do with running hours? Is it a truly variable contract, or do you have a fixed fee and then an additional variable on top of that?
Okay, understood. So in terms of the billing, I mentioned per kilowatt hour and per unit deployed. So per unit deployed is typically seen for our single phase UPS. So for a certain size UPS in a certain region installed, that'll be a set price. And so the number of those units deployed in a certain area in a month, that is your bill, Mr. Customer. Very simple pricing table. And the per kilowatt hour billing model, typically, the vast majority of the time, does have a minimum commit. So the customer commits to a set number of kilowatt hours per month. And if they were to go over that, then there would be an overage charge. And so it's two, potentially three-step pricing, depending on, again, customers' requirements and the solution that's required to solve their problems. But we do have a number of different ways to bill our customer in a really transparent manner.
Okay, thank you. We've had a three-part question from Jonathan. I think we've addressed a couple of points, but there's a question about the proportion of sales that you intend to achieve through this model. Do you have a target for that?
Okay. The proportion of sales. Ideally, we would like. Well, I'll be honest. There's no set figure for how many sales. Sorry, how many assets we wish to servitize, but we do have sales figures, sales targets for our team to achieve between CapEx and OpEx offers. I can't really share that, but we do have targets set, and we do have KPIs to measure our sales team and hopefully get them across the line and help them sell CapEx and also OpEx solutions for our customers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And another question from Alejandro: are your customers allowed to consider this asset off their balance sheet, according to the accounting rules?
That's a very technical question.
I wonder whether a marketing
IFRS
person
16,
would be able to answer that one. It's a good challenge for you.
I would say, yeah. So I technically can't answer that. I'm not an accountant. Allowed to consider this asset off balance sheet. I would say yes, because Schneider Electric own the assets. Again, I'm not an accountant. We see, we hear feedback from our customers and also our financial consultants that our customers see this as a fully operational expense model. So it's completely OpEx, and there's no requirements to depreciate anything on their balance sheet because they don't own the assets. We own the assets, and that's our responsibility to provide the outcomes that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks, Ben. I think for a non-technical accountant, you did a good answer there. Do you have a rough idea of how many customers have been converted to this? How many existing customers have been converted to this new offer? Obviously, it's not actually been in the market all that long. This is all quite recent, but how is that looking?
So we have roughly, I think there's like 55 sites, 55 or 60 individual sites that have been converted from hardware ownership, traditional services to this outcomes-based model. So there's a lot of units out there that are Schneider owned and Schneider managed.
Just a follow up to that, is that in 55 in Australia?
Sorry, 55 in Australia and New Zealand.
Australia and New Zealand. Thank you. Okay. So Ben, I think I'll just return briefly to a couple of questions that I had for you. So we talked about the people that you needed to have in place to do this. Let's talk a bit more about the technology. So what technology did you already have in place that made this possible? And what have you had to do and to introduce to enable this?
Absolutely. So technology, so all of the technology was pretty much in place within the hardware solution. The things that we used to that we sell transactionally to our customer. We have the ability to, so our customers can buy network cards for the UPS, the critical cooling solutions. We have the digital backbone, which is EcoStructure, and that's a cloud solution that is able to collate all of the telemetry data from the asset and drag that up into the cloud. And we have a number of different solutions that allow either the customer or Schneider Electric to analyze and break down that data. And we have a number of like predictive analytics suites for both, again, the customer or Schneider to understand what is going on with that asset and what will happen to that asset over time. And I would say, the technologies that you need, this servitization journey, I feel like is 4 very big steps, right? You need the data to create the insights to create the actions, and the actions to provide the outcomes to the customer. And so in terms of, looking at what's out there in the field already, what we sell, large number of connected products already. There's a lot of our customers who are already connected to our traditional software monitoring solutions. We really had a large number of service providers that are contractors to us, and a large number of engineers that are directly employed by us. And so for us, for the team here, it was really about creating the linkages between the existing competencies to allow us to build and sell this new consumption model.
And I know you had a high proportion of assets connected already and already capturing, collecting data. So would it be fair to say that part of this initiative was about capturing the revenue and the additional value from that data you were already collecting, but not necessarily monetizing?
Sort of. So I mean, we already had service offers that monetized the data that that allowed our customers to derive value from that data from the asset. We have like digital monitoring services where the customer can connect their asset, and then we can actually be very proactive about providing our services back to them. So if something were to go wrong, we could then go call the engineer and send the engineer at the time that we see a failure occurring, instead of the customer calling us and saying, "Oh, my monitoring suite says something was wrong." And so really, I suppose taking that step back, the offer was created to, I suppose, address that secular trend, right, of accessing experiences, being outcomes oriented, thinking about being more customer focused instead of having to manage the ownership and management of the assets that allow our customers to deliver those experiences to their customers. Yeah, I would say again, it really is about just doing more for our doing more for our customers, and turning that data into something else, in building up an offer that that our competitors can't offer right now, and that offer that data is the start.
So taking the expertise and that data and that services mindset that you already had, and taking that to the next level to make you even more competitive. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to take one final audience question, which is from Demetrius. Typically, how long are your contracts with clients? And can you talk maybe about, if you can tell us without divulging anything too sensitive, what's perhaps the largest project that you've implemented, either in terms of the size of the system or the investment amount, depending on how you categorize it?
Okay. Okay, so the contract lengths are usually dependent on the technology type and the technology solution that we provide to our customers. So could vary anywhere between 4 to 7 years, but we've been asked to provide a solution for 10 years. So again, it comes down to what sort of technology we're providing for the customer, and making sure that makes sense for our customer. It probably doesn't make sense to have a 3-phase UPS, so like a very big hardware solution for a customer only on a 4-year contract, when the hardware life cycle for that product might be 10 or 12 years. And the largest project that we've implemented in terms of size, I think roughly 200 single-phase UPSs over a number of sites for a very large customer. We've completed a rollout for. It's for some of these customers, it's a very, very large job. There's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of individual small UPSs or large UPSs that need to be managed on their behalf.
Okay. I said that was the final question, but there's a bit of discussion coming up in the Q&A, so I'm just going to give you the opportunity to address this. So obviously you work in the Australia, New Zealand market. That's where we're talking about this. This has been initiated, but what's the plan for international expansion?
Yeah, Wilhelm, I suppose that's a good question. I suppose dedicated now for Australia and New Zealand, where somebody from the quoting team is helping to quote up a very large job in the Nordics. I'm hearing lots of noise from customers in North America, I think that this is coming to the rest of the world very, very quickly. So just wait and see. We'll be where you are before you know it.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for answering all those questions, and thank you everybody for submitting some really great questions. If we didn't get to them, like I say, Ben will be having a look at those after the webinar, and we'll send out any further answers by email. So it just falls to me, just for one final plug for Servitization Live. Ben will again be speaking at Servitization Live, as I say, talking in more detail about some of the customer offerings, particularly for the healthcare industry. You can see on screen lots of the other benefits of attending that. You can attend in person or online. So if you haven't already, please do register for the event. And it just remains for me to say thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you very much, Ben, for joining us as well, for your time today and for your answers. And yeah, we look forward to seeing everyone at Servitization Live. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eleanor. It was a pleasure.